Welcome to the Humanities Team podcast with me, Steve Farrell. Humanities Team is an international spiritual movement whose purpose is to communicate and demonstrate the timeless truth that we are all one, with the divine and all life, caring for each other and the world we share, so that people's actions reflect this profound understanding within our generation. We believe that living this truth is essential to resolving the most chronic and acute world challenges and vital to creating a flourishing world of peace, harmony, and happiness. We offer transformative education programs in personal and spiritual development, and we host an annual event called Global Oneness Day. Similar to Earth Day, which galvanized the global environmental movement, Global Oneness Day has become a catalyst for spiritual activism and an integral part of the present-day global oneness movement, which represents a profound new paradigm in human culture. Humanities Team is the only global nonprofit organization working in transformational education. Since we are a nonprofit, there is no focus on growing profits or satisfying shareholders, and 100% of all revenue goes toward our work supporting conscious evolution, planetary awakening, and flourishing at every level of life. If you'd like to learn more about us or want to support our mission directly through donation or volunteering some of your time, please visit us online at humanitiesteam.org. And lastly, if you enjoyed this podcast, we'd be grateful if you'd leave us a review. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to share a brief introduction from my special guest now. Patricia Cota-Robles is co-founder and president of the nonprofit educational organization New Age Study of Humanity's Purpose, which sponsors the annual World Congress on Illumination. Patricia was a marriage and family counselor for 20 years. She now spends her time freely sharing the information she is receiving from the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth. This is accomplished through her website, YouTube videos, her free monthly email articles, programs like this, and more. The divine intent of these celestial sharings is to give humanity greater clarity and understanding as we progress through these wondrous but often challenging times on Earth. Patricia's philosophy is every person is precious and divine, regardless of how far his or her behavior patterns and life experiences may be from reflecting that truth. She says we are not victims of our lives. We are the co-creators of our lives. Now is the time to create the lives we've always dreamed about. And you can follow her work at eraofpeace.org. We're also putting a slide up here now of some activities that Patricia has created that are coming up here in the coming weeks and months. So you might want to be sure to check that out and write down details. Okay, welcome to the Living Oneness Summit, Patricia. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Steve. It's wonderful to be here. This is an exciting time. We have a lot of important things we're all being called to do, aren't we?
We do indeed, and thank you. And I know, Patricia, we talked about you just coming in and sharing, these beautiful, thoughtful, and profound, really, updates. I guess for about 30 minutes, and then I know you've created also a beautiful meditation that you'll share before we get to question and answer. So we can just start right in if you like.
Sure, I'll be glad to. This is such a powerful time, and we've been involved in some really intense influxes of light to help shift consciousness. And I think that everybody at some level is aware that something of tremendous magnitude is taking place on the planet. Some people think that everything is getting worse and it's going to be the demise of the earth. Other people feel like maybe it's going to be an instant manifestation of heaven on earth. But actually, it's a process that's unfolding. Nothing ever happens like that instantaneously in that way. It happens instantaneously in the realms of cause, and then it begins to filter into the world of effects. And one of the things that's happening now is with these energies that we've just experienced in August, in this unprecedented eclipse series that we had, from the lunar eclipse that took place on August 7th, building in momentum until the solar eclipse that we experienced on August 21st. It was literally with that alignment, the greatest influx of light that we've been able to receive on this planet at a cellular level. And the reason for that is because there has been this unfolding process of raising us up in energy, vibration, and consciousness. And since the birth of the new earth, which was December 21st and 22nd in 2012, our God self, and when I say our, I'm literally referring to every single person on the planet, as well as even the elemental kingdom, the nature kingdom, and Mother Earth herself, have been raising up in vibration the maximum that we can withstand into higher and higher frequencies. And this is occurring because there are tremendous numbers of people awakening and realizing that they have a purpose and reason for being and invoking the light of God into their lives. And what happens is that as this love and light flows through our heart flame into the physical plane, it pushes everything that conflicts with it to the surface, because every malady on earth, anything that's less than that Garden of Eden state of heaven on earth, is literally something that we have created through the misuse and misunderstanding of our thoughts, words, actions, and feelings. We were given the gift of free will at our inception and the creative faculties of thought and feeling. And the divine plan was that we would use those faculties to be able to co-create new patterns expressing heaven on earth, so that we could learn to be co-creators with our Father, Mother, God. Well, we were given one admonition at the beginning so that we would maintain our purpose of only creating those positive patterns, new expressions of divinity, and that was, do not partake of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And all evil is just when we've used the gift of our life force to create patterns that are not based in love. Anything causing any level of pain or suffering at this time is a human miscreation, a gross mutation of our gift of life that somewhere, sometime, humanity, individually or collectively, through our thoughts and feelings, created this consciousness that is now manifesting as disease or poverty or lack and limitation or war or greed and corruption, anything that's less than the balance of love and reverence for all life and the oneness is a human miscreation. So what we're in the process of doing now is reversing those adverse effects of our fall from grace. Everything that's causing any kind of pain and suffering, as I said, is that we have taken our life force and misqualified it through our thoughts and feelings and our free will into this gross mutation that's now manifesting as this painful effect in the physical plane. So now to reverse that, we are responsible for taking that energy, whether it's poverty, whether it's disease, whether it's hatred, and even now what we're experiencing, that us against them consciousness, that lack of reverence for life, for each other, that dog eat dog, looking out for number one, the white supremacists and anti-religion or race or culture or whatever, anything that is conflicting with the oneness of all life is being pushed to the surface. So during that time, actually that powerful eclipse series that we had in August, what was taking place at that time is that we had reached a critical mass that allowed that what the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth are saying is the greatest need of the hour, the first patterns of perfection for the new earth to be encoded into the mental and emotional strata. And they said that what was the greatest need of the hour, the first patterns that were encoded into the mental and emotional strata during that time of that eclipse series, were the patterns of eternal peace and God's infinite abundance. These are inseparable aspects of our Father, Mother, God, which means that we can't experience peace without abundance, and we can't experience abundance without peace. So these two inseparable aspects have now been encoded. And everything that conflicts with that is being pushed to the surface. So during that same time frame, we experienced this event in Charlottesville and the incredible us against them and the negativity and the hatred and all of those things that are the antithesis of eternal peace and God's infinite abundance. These things were pushed to the surface. So this moment that we are in right now, those energies are coming up to be purified and transmuted back into light. And we are guided, our organization is guided to do free seminars around the United States of America. And the seminar that we're having now is called It Is Time for the Next Step. And the beings of light have guided us to various areas. And actually, we arrange the location. We are guided and told where to go a year in advance, and we just respond to our heart call and schedule the seminars without even knowing particularly what's going to be taking place there. And then when we're at the seminar, the people that come, we send out that clarion call, and whoever is supposed to be there responds to their heart call and attends the seminar. This last Sunday, on the 17th of September, we had our seminar in New York City at Hotel Pennsylvania, right in the center of New York City. And we didn't know when we were organizing this in the beginning, but it was also the beginning of the United Nations Week, which is one of the most important collective events that takes place in Washington, D.C. And people come from all over the world, all of the diplomats, all of the people that are orchestrating, representing their constituents in their countries, gather at this huge gathering at the United Nations. Now, I know that, the lower consciousness of humanity and outer world things can take place in the outer world that don't reflect the magnitude of what is really happening. We've today experienced President Trump's speech, which wasn't necessarily what we would call heart unifying in the outer world. But that's okay, because what is taking place is the bigger picture, a far greater expansion of light. What we were asked to do on Sunday was open this portal of light that enveloped all of New York City and the surrounding areas. And the beings of light that are the caretakers of holding this portal of light open are the goddess of divine liberty, who is represented by the Statue of Liberty in the outer world. She, in this portal of light that is now open, has taken or projected her luminous presence to the cardinal point to the north. The goddess of divine justice took her position at the cardinal point to the east. The goddess of freedom took her position at the cardinal point to the south. And the goddess of victory took her position at the cardinal point to the west. These magnificent beings of light, through their luminous presence, are projecting these divine qualities from the heart of our Father, Mother God, in, through, and around every particle of life on earth. They've drawn this light, representing those divine qualities of our Father, Mother God, from the very heart of our omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Father, Mother God. They have anchored this light through New York City, and all those there. Those at the seminar served as the transformers, the people that were drawn to the seminar. The light came through all of our heart flames into the center of the earth and is anchored in the center of the earth. So this portal now is open from the center of the earth up through New York City and all the surrounding areas into the very heart of our Father, Mother God. And this light is pouring through this portal into the center of the earth. And then Mother Earth is expanding that light out through the crystal grid system, which is exactly like our acupuncture meridians in our own body, bathing the earth in these divine qualities, raising up, creating a consciousness and an understanding of oneness and reverence for all life. So know that during this week, this is the energy that is bathing the physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies through the higher consciousness of all of those gathered at the United Nations. Now, we have invoked the I Am presence, the God Self of every person on earth. And we did that on Sunday. And what happens with that, When we say, I am my I am presence, we connect with our own divinity. And when we say, I am my I am presence, and I'm one with the I am presence of all humanity, we instantaneously connect with every other person's God self on the planet. Then their I am presence has permission to receive that light. So with the invocations that have taken place, what's happening now during this week, every single person on the planet, with an intensified focus of those gathered at the United Nations, is receiving this light of liberty, divine justice, freedom, and victory to help shift the consciousness and raise the consciousness of humanity back into a higher state of oneness. Now, on Thursday, September 21st, it's the International Day of Peace. And globally, that is held during the time of the United Nations. Globally, that invocations of peace will take place now, being amplified by these additional divine qualities. So it's a very important time for all of us to stay centered in our heart, to be working with the God self of every other person. And as I said, it is as simple as saying, I am my I am presence, and I am one with the I am presence of all humanity. Instantaneously, we move from the microcosm of our individual self to the macrocosm of being one in consciousness with the God self of every single person on this planet. So these energies then on Thursday, globally, millions of people all over the world participate in this International Day of Peace so that we are invoking light and love and peace into the planet. Then on Saturday, which will be the 23rd, there is the Global Citizens Celebration that will take place in Central Park in Washington, D.C. Global Citizens is a magnificent global activity of light involving literally hundreds of thousands of millennials, the awakening younger people on the planet. They have this event. They have made a commitment with the United Nations to end extreme poverty on the planet in the next 30 years. And these young millennials, they have these events that will take place in Washington, D.C. Hopefully the hurricanes coming won't affect that adversely. But the one that they had year before last that I participated in myself and watched and energized with at that level, they had 60,000 young people there. And these 60,000 people don't get to come just because they give a donation. They get to come by making a pledge to do something in their communities that are going to assist in adding to the light of the world and eliminating poverty on a global scale. And the entire event, it's a huge event. It's the one that I participated in a couple of years ago. Michelle Obama was there. President Obama gave a talk over the television, the huge television. Bill Gates was there. All of these high-powered people working together. They had wonderful concerts of all of the celebrities and people joining all over, and they collected money and made pledges throughout the entire day for these global citizens. The kids are working in every country of the world. They're making these commitments to help shift and raise consciousness. So there is definitely this magnificent shift of consciousness that's going on. What took place and what we witness in the outer world, what's so difficult, is that as this light increases on the planet, as it did during the eclipse series and as it is doing daily and hourly, it pushes everything to the surface that conflicts with it. It literally flows through the heart flame of awakening humanity. There's a universal law that the call for assistance must come from the realm where the assistance is needed. The beings of light, even though they're standing in readiness, and even our own I am presences are standing in readiness to help us, but cannot interfere with our free will and cannot intervene in our lives without us giving them permission to do so by invoking them into our lives. And so now that this has occurred for this particular instance, the more of us that allow this light to flow through, the faster these shifts are going to take place in the outer world. So when it states that the call for assistance must come from the realm where the assistance is needed, it means quite literally that even though these magnificent portals of light have been opened and this tremendous influx of light through this eclipse series that we've just experienced has taken place, if there aren't awakened humanity in the physical plane drawing that light through our meditations, our invocations, our prayers, and our requests, drawing that light through our crown chakra into our heart flame, and then projecting it into the physical plane through our thoughts, words, actions, and feelings. It does not enter the physical plane if we don't do that, even though it's available and even though it's there. What the beings of light have said, cosmic moments come and cosmic moments go. And if we don't accept the opportunity, those moments pass us by, and we do not experience the magnitude of what's available for us. So that's what I want us to really hear today and really understand, that this week there is this enormous event taking place in Washington, D.C., in this newly opened portal. And regardless of all of the competitiveness, all of the saber rattling, all of the less than love and light communication we may hear, the I am presence of every person ignores all of that and doesn't do anything associated with that, works only for the highest good. And even though people are saying things like what was said today, that we're going to literally obliterate North Korea and those kind of ridiculous and incredibly destructive thought forms that go out into the world, fear-based consciousness that just agitates everything. Even though those things are communicated, they are communicated from the fragmented, fear-based residue of humanity's human ego. The I am presence, the God self, absolutely never participates in anything like that. So what we're doing is working through the God self. And the light coming through the God self, light is infinitely more powerful than the fragmented fear-based consciousness of our fallen lower awareness. And so one person invoking light through their I am presence can transmute tons of these fear-based thought forms in the outer world. And the beings of light want us to understand that more than anything else, that what is happening now is that the light is flowing through the heart flames of awakening humanity, because there are literally millions of people awakening on a daily basis on this planet. And when they begin invoking the light flows through their heart flame into everything that conflicts with that light. So let's say abundance, okay? So there's poverty, dire poverty, and painful things existing in the outer world. When we invoke the light, the golden light of eternal peace and God's infinite abundance, and flood it into the physical plane, that light is stamped as it passes through our heart flame with these divine qualities of abundance and eternal peace. And then it flows into everything manifesting in the outer world as poverty, lack, and limitation. That light enters the core of purity and begins activating the divine potential of infinite abundance and eternal peace. And that negativity is cast off. And if you could see it with your inner vision, it's like this black tar-like substance cloaking these electrons, then manifesting as dire poverty and pain of lack and limitation. Or the other extreme of greed and corruption and abuse of power and all of those things. That's all the same misqualified energy, just the opposite extremes of misqualifying the gift of abundance and eternal peace. So when that light then flows into those energies. It pushes it to the surface. So we start seeing lack and limitation and things coming up to the surface at this time. But what the beings of light want us to understand is that this was referred to biblically as the time of screaming and gnashing of teeth, just for this reason, that as the light increases on the earth, the negativity is pushed to the surface, and we can easily see the negativity surfacing. What we don't see is the incredible light that's pushing it to the surface. So we need to transcend that lower fear-based consciousness that is accepting what we're seeing in the outer world as the reality of what is happening, because it is not. It feels very real, it seems very real, but it is just the garbage being pushed to the surface. Excuse me. So what we need to do now is we need to start shifting consciousness, reminding us of the oneness of all life. There are millions of people awakening, but there are also people that are just terrified, fighting tooth and nail. All prejudice is, all greed, all corruption, anything that's less than heaven on earth are patterns that were miscreated, that are not based in love, but rather are based in fear. And that's what we're witnessing in the outer world, that we're in the process now of shifting and changing. So, for instance, we hear all of this about immigration. Of course, we need to have immigration reform. The United States of America is a country of immigrants, and that was the original divine intent. America is an anagram for the I am race. The I am race means our God self, a race of God-conscious souls, of the I am presence, by the I am presence, for the I am presence. And the I am race was to be comprised, which all of our sacred doctrines and say in the beginning, of the family of humanity coming together in oneness. All races, all religions, all cultures, all lifestyles, all socioeconomic situations, the family of humanity, one world, a new world. And all of our doctrines and all of our sacred documents say the right thing. But when we came together, we brought our lower human consciousness, so it's taken us a while, and we aren't out picturing that. And even to this moment, we're not out picturing it. But we are definitely a country of immigrants. And that was the plan. The family of humanity modeling the microcosm of the macrocosm of the planet. But of course, everybody can't move to the United States of America. The plan was not that everybody immigrate to the United States of America. What the plan was that there be an awakening, moving into the oneness of life, which is happening now, which is occurring through Global Oneness Day and Humanities Team and Global Citizens and the United Nations and the awakening of global peace meditations like International Peace Day, is realizing that we are one. And the truth is that the people that are coming, that are fleeing their countries, and the refugees that are coming, 99.9% of them would much, much rather remain in their own countries, in security, in peace, with abundance, and loving each other in ways that reach their highest potential. So that's what our mission is. Not allowing every single person on the planet to immigrate to the United States, but rather for the United States, the family of humanity, joining with every other country of the world, bringing prosperity and abundance to the rest of the world, and peace, and that whole consciousness of, so that there isn't a person on the planet that is without food or shelter or health care or joy or security or happiness, or able to worship as they choose, or have the job that just fills their heart and creates new expansion of life and wonderful loving relationships. That's the purpose of what we need to do, is move from the microcosm to creating that wonder, not building walls and isolating ourselves and pretending like nobody else exists, not us against them, not trying to fight for our own individual race against everybody else, but coming together in that oneness. And that's what's happening at a scale of the bigger picture of what is really happening. And all of this other stuff is just the fear-based consciousness, that fighting, that us against them, that duality that is totally conflicting with what is happening in the outer world, in the reality of creating the new heaven and the new earth. So the being of light have given us a wonderful meditation, and they have asked us to join together and to be our sister and brothers keepers, so that as we join together in consciousness, it's called loving all life free, for us to help raise up and shift the consciousness of those that are in that fear-based place until their God self, their I am presence, can raise their head above the mud puddle of their human miscreations effectively enough to allow them to become that loving being, revering all life, understanding at the reverence and oneness of life. So do we have that time to do that? We do have that moment. Is that okay, Steve, to go ahead with the meditation now?
You bet. Please do, Patricia. Love to do that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's do this. And I'd like for you just to focus on the idea that there is this enormous portal that is open, enveloping all of New York City and the surrounding areas. And again, the goddess of divine liberty is at the cardinal point to the north. The goddess of divine justice is the cardinal point to the east. The goddess of freedom is at the cardinal point to the south. And the goddess of victory is at the cardinal point to the west. And these beings are drawing this light from the heart of God through this portal into the center of the earth. It's blazing through the crust of the earth, up through the four earthly bodies, physical, etheric, mental, and emotional, of every person, as well as the bodies of Mother Earth. But there is a concentrated focus flowing through New York City, the United Nations, the events that will be taking place with the International Day of Peace. The equinox is on Friday, another great, tremendous influx of light, and then the global citizens that'll be taking place on Saturday. And all of this is creating a new shift of vibration for our Global Oneness Day that will be October 24th of this year. So again, breathing in deeply, going within to the divinity of your heart, and just following me through this visualization through the full power of your attention. Inhaling, exhaling. I am my I am presence, and I am one with the I am presence of every person on earth. As one unified heart, we invoke our Father, Mother, God, and the entire company of heaven to help raise every person on earth from a consciousness of separation and duality into a consciousness of oneness, reverence for all life, and the full divine momentum of love. This is being accomplished by every person's I am presence in perfect alignment with his or her divine plan and the highest good for all concerned. Beloved Father, Mother, God, we ask that you expand your flame of transfiguring divine love, which is pulsating within the divinity of every person's heart flame. Allow a heart of this divine love to expand and expand through every person's fifth dimensional heart chakra until it envelops the entire planet Earth. As this unfathomable influx of divine love bathes the earth, every facet of life on this planet is being lifted into a higher order of being. Each person's I am presence now creates a sacred space that allows that person to open their fifth dimensional crown chakra of enlightenment to full breadth. This allows each person to ascend ever higher into the awakened and enlightened state of Christ consciousness. As this occurs, multidimensional and multifaceted fifth-dimensional crystalline solar light expands from the very heart of our Father, Mother, God into every cell of humanity's physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies. Now, all is in readiness, and through their I Am presence, every person on earth is participating at both inner and outer levels in this activity of light, which is raising the consciousness of the masses of humanity and assisting every recalcitrant soul to shift from the illusion of separation and duality into the reality of oneness and reverence for all life. I now reach up into the infinity of my own divine consciousness. As I am lifted up, all of humanity is being lifted up with me. In this frequency of divine consciousness, I see that humanity's free will is becoming one with God's will, and the I Am presence of each person is affirming, I am ready to love all life free. Instantaneously, I see the truth of every person on earth. I see all of my sisters and brothers in the family of humanity, even the most recalcitrant souls, as precious sons and daughters of God, no matter how far their behavior pattern or their life experiences may be from reflecting that truth. I perceive all of the painful human miscreations associated with my sisters and brothers as innocent primordial energy entering my awareness now to be transmuted back into light and loved free. I happily greet all of these children of God and all of their misqualified energy the same way my Father, Mother, God would greet them. I greet them with love from within the embrace of eternal peace, detachment, God confidence, and supreme authority. Within an invincible force field of God's infinite love, I now take my sisters and brothers into the divinity of my heart flame, and I hold them there in my arms of light as I would an injured child. They cannot overwhelm me or control me in any way, nor do I need to fear them or shun them. I simply hold them and love them until they surrender to the love of God, desiring on their own to rejoin the kingdom of heaven, which is pulsating within the divinity of their own heart flames. Now, rather than feeling rejected and thus perpetuating their negative behavior patterns, my sisters and brothers feel accepted and loved as the innate sons and daughters of God they are. They voluntarily release themselves into the light, and they begin to remember who they are. I rejoice that recalcitrant souls and their unascended energies are at long last finding their way home through me, and I release myself into the peace of knowing my I Am presence is handling all imperfection perfectly. As these precious souls surrender to the light, they realize that they are beloved sons and daughters of God. With this sacred knowledge, they once again find their proper place in the family of humanity. In perfect divine order, they are set free to live and co-create the patterns of love, oneness, and reverence for all life on the new earth. This activity of light is being God victoriously accomplished right here and right now, to be maintained and eternally self-sustained until all life on this sweet earth is wholly ascended and free. And so it is. Beloved, I am.
Oh, that was beautiful, profound, stunning. Patricia, let's just breathe into that here for a moment. I closed my eyes so I could really feel into the entirety of that. It was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, let's just take a couple of deep breaths into that inspired meditation and all of the things that Patricia's been sharing that are really very, very valuable. And in fact, the comments that are coming in, they're almost all comments as opposed to questions. With thanks, shout outs, Patricia, from France and around the world, of appreciation. So thank you, Patricia. And there were just three things I'll just briefly mention. One, a call out for the religions and spiritual organizations to unite behind a single payer income, a guaranteed income kind of practice, such as what the Facebook chairman recently called for. So that's beautiful. Another that just was reinforcing that the meetings in New York City that you were referencing in the United Nations, and then another that talked about Michael Moore's movie Where to Invade Next, and some specific legislation that's referenced in the movie that talks about nurturing and supporting the earth and humanity. So those were some of the interest areas, intersections of opportunity.
Good.
Things that you were talking about, Patricia.
Good. Well, thank you. It's such an exciting time, and you're doing so much wonderful work in your whole organization, Steve. This is these magnificent things. The truth is even though from the top a lot of havoc can be wreaked in the outer world, fundamental change never begins at the top. It begins at the grassroots level of movement, and there are huge grassroots organizations now organizing and coordinating that are making a tremendous difference. We don't hear about that on the news. We just hear about the negativity, but we do need to realize that we need to just support them. We need to support them financially. We need to support them with our prayers, our calls, our invocations, and our own communities and our own intent. And we are definitely making a difference. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, we are. Yes. And I'll just reinforce, too, one of the things you're sharing, Patricia, in these seminars that you're doing for free around the country are reinforcing is the call to action aspect of that this is our time, that we've been in the spiritual gym, so to speak, all of our lives preparing for this moment where this awakening, this shift, this transformation is accelerating. And now all of us, all of the viewers that are here, people around the world that are called to this work to, come down on the field, so to speak. And if all of us just embrace one task, just live authentically as one, without, sometimes it's referred to as identity theft, where we try and hide, the truth of who we are. But really embodying oneness, embodying what love is, embodying presence. It's such a beautiful thing. And, who doesn't love that? And then picking up a specific community outreach activity as well. So, just to a shout out to that, because I know this is what we all stand for. It's what you stand for at Era of Peace, Patricia, and what we stand for in Humanities Team.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate you and all the things you're doing. So we're moving onward and upward. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, we are. Well, and we appreciate you. And Patricia has a wonderful assistant, Linda. I want to shout out to her. She's amazing. All of your organization, it is divinely inspired, which is why you touch so many people in such a profound way, Patricia. So thank you to you.
Yes,
and your organization.
Wonderful people supporting me and helping me, that we couldn't do this work. None of us can do this work without each other. And no person's part of the plan is any more important than anybody else's. You know, whether you're bringing the information through or you're supporting the people that do, and whether it's you're teaching classes or you're financially supporting people that are doing that, you know, it's all critical part of the whole.
Yes, for sure. Let me touch on some things here, some 3 questions, and then there's some questions that are coming in here from listeners as well. One, Patricia, this whole, you sometimes talk about bursting the paralyzing grip of fear-based human egos. So just getting down to the practical level for viewers, I know talking to people, many people share it's just such a challenge to get beyond it and to really live. Do you want to, can you just talk for a moment about that? Because I know that's a very important topic for many people.
The wonderful, wonderful thing that I can share with you is that since the birth of the new earth, we've been going through different shifts. And a couple of years ago, we reached this critical mass that allowed our I am presence to raise to a frequency that literally shattered that paralyzing grip of the human ego. And what the human ego is just the level we fell to when we fell into such discordant separation, and we lost contact with our I am presence. So we started developing this alter ego and giving it power. And that alter ego feels like our physical body is all that we are and the physical plane is all that exists. But a couple of years ago, that ability to manipulate us was shattered. And when I say us, I mean every person on the planet, because we reached this critical mass that creates an unstoppable shift that absorbs everything and everyone as it moves forward. So when we're acting out of those old patterns now, what happened is Archangel Michael encapsulated our ego in this magnificent force field of light that's called Archangel Michael's ring pass not of God's first cause of perfection. So no negativity can pass in or out of this circle, but light easily passes out. So it's encapsulated our ego, and it's been taken into the heart of our I am presence, and our I am presence is just flooding it with love until it releases and lets go. But what that means for all of us, and what the beings of light want us to really understand, is that when we're still acting out of that fear-based consciousness, that whatever it is, we're acting out of the habit and the residue of what's recorded in our etheric body. Our ego is no longer there. So what that means is it has no ability or power like it used to. I mean, before, all we'd have to do is try to improve our diet. We start craving every single thing we're not supposed to eat. That's the kind of thing the ego would do. Now, when we do that, those addictions and that kind of thing, it's out of the habit of it, but the power is not behind it. And the way we will know that is by utilizing the violet flame and literally saying to yourself, this, I am my I am presence, and this has no power. This is just the residue. This is the memory. It is no longer who I am. Blaze the violet flame through it, and you are going to find yourself moving forward infinitely easier than you ever thought you could, in much faster ways. It's monumental shift that's taken place for all of us. And the reason we haven't initiated it is because a lot of people didn't realize it happened. So we're still acting out as though the ego is still in control, but it is not. Your I am presence is now in control.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you also to viewers. There are just questions and comments pouring in. Thank you to each of you for taking a moment to share with us. Related to this, Patricia, one of the things, you share Jesus, angels, cosmic resources, celestial resources are coming to you all the time, and that they're available to help people, as we're stepping into the fullness of who we are. Can you spend a minute talking about that and how people can call on these resources that stand at the ready?
Sure, absolutely. The legions of light, we were never supposed to be weeping and wailing through our valley of tears, just struggling through trial and error to find out who we are and what works here. All that came after we fell and forgot who we are. We were always supposed to have the contact with the beings of light. They're just our sisters and brothers that have evolved to a higher level of evolution. And they involve all the wonderful avatars and beings of the various world religions, but also ascended masters, cosmic beings, angelic beings, solar logos, literally the entire company of heaven. And they're just our sisters and brothers that have evolved to a higher level of evolution. They're like college professors compared to us being kindergarten students. And they were always supposed to be there to answer our questions and to guide us. They don't do it for us, but they guide us, just like, you know, we hear as above, so below. In the outer world, we're not supposed to get our college degrees just by happenstance. We go to instructors and professors and we learn and we grow from that. So that's what's supposed to happen. And simply by saying, I am my I am presence, for one thing, that immediately connects you with the higher part of your consciousness, and saying, I am one with the company of heaven, and I ask the company of heaven to guide and assist me, and my Father, Mother, God, and if you have names of beings, Mother Mary, Jesus, Archangel Michael, Buddha, Krishna, whoever you reach out to in the inner realms. And there's also beings associated with every divine quality. So if you want the beings of light associated with healing, or with the violet flame, or with abundance, or with peace, or with divine love, just ask for the beings associated with those particular qualities, and it opens the floodgates of heaven to assist you.
So one of the questions, this is from Dejimba, who says, my question is that I'm feeling guided to help children with their spirituality. Sometimes I'm feeling confused about how to do this. Can you please give your guidance on this? Thank you, and love and blessings.
Well, Kachimba, when that comes into your heart, that's because you've been preparing for lifetimes to do this. And the reality is, your I am presence is the only one that's going to be able to actually guide you to exactly how to do it. But it is very needed. There are incredibly powerful beings of light being born on the planet. All of these children. Nobody's coming in at this time now since the birth of the new earth just to work through karmic liabilities. They're coming in to add to the light of the world. And some of the children have volunteered, they're powerful light beings, have volunteered to embody in some really heavy-duty negativity, because it was clear that they are going to be able to awaken and lift that energy up and pull everybody else that's experienced similar things up with them. So some of them have really volunteered to come into difficult places, and they need to have supportive, wonderful people in the outer world like yourself. So what I encourage you to do is ask your I am presence to guide you, and just start affirming, I am open and receptive, and I'm magnetizing into my sphere of awareness every place that I can benefit in any way in assisting children. And just start invoking that mantra, and then paying attention to every single thing that comes into your awareness that involves children or the potential for you helping them. Once you start doing that and asking the company of heaven to help you, you're going to be so overwhelmed with opportunities to help children, you won't be able to handle it all.
Thank you, Patricia. And you remind us often it's just as easy as just asking with an open heart. And wow, boom.
That's
the
right.
answers pour forth.
If we could just envision that these beings of light have been standing in readiness for eons, and just now on this massive scale, are we aware of them enough that we're invoking them to the ability that they can release their full potential, which they are elated. Let me tell you, they are elated.
Okay, Patricia, here's a question. It says, what is the most potent thing we can do on a daily basis? This is from Lucy.
The most potent thing you can do is just to be the open door, and to know that all you have to do that, to say, I am my I am presence, and I am one with the I am presence of all humanity. And I ask that with every thought, word, action, or feeling, I allow the light of God to flow through me into everything I'm thinking, feeling, saying, and doing. That's just a very simple, and you don't need to use those exact words, but that's the general idea. And then listen to your heart, because your I am presence is guiding you. And every moment of every day, with every single thing that happens in our life, every person we meet, every person we pass on the street, is an opportunity to flood the light, and to add to the light of the world. So your I Am Presence is going to be guiding you to all kinds of things. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all. Make that you're just the open door that no one can shut, so that you're perpetually that open door, and then pay attention to every single thing that happens and know that's the most important thing you're supposed to do at that very moment.
If you'd like to receive all of our new podcast episodes, please click on the subscribe button. To find out more about Humanities Team transformational education programs and about how you can help support our mission, please visit us online at humanitiesteam.org, where you can also sign up for our email list so we can let you know about our free online events and other news about what we're up to each week. And again, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. Thank you.